Yes, ladies and germs. The rumors are true. Less than 24 hours ago, I completed the most obsessive task of the year 2025. I completed Superman 64. And so, every now and then, as my favorite FBI agent, Special Agent Dale Cooper would say, you've got to reward yourself with just a little present, just one little present a day. So I decided on a jet puffed marshmallow. You celebrate these things, not always knowing what your next celebration will be. And so you plop down in a rocking chair, nod on a mellow, sip on a cup of coffee with a hole in the middle of it, and enjoy yourself as the tweets, the birds, the comfort of the feline, and the rock of the chair lull you into a state of pure ecstasy. And all it took was an obsessive 100 hours trying to play a video game. So yeah. Sometimes we have these role play scenarios, like we're sitting in a therapy office, me and Tim. I'll sit there and try not to stare him down, but definitely lock eyes. Sometimes he'll quit back and say his catchphrase, "This looks like a job for Superman." But most of the time, it's all just floating in the air between me and him. It's just this telepathic link. And somehow, we make it work. People often ask me, how do you keep things so fresh? I tell them that I surround myself with elements that are not quite as normal. You find things to distract you. You stage yourself next to what could be next year's Rudolph. You have all these conversations. We make it work. We have a compatible relationship. It's a little complicated, but at the end of the day, we walk hand in hand. Sometimes in a shirt pocket. Then you realize, gosh, I'm off topic. I'm supposed to be talking about this awful video game. How awful was it? I mean, were there redeeming qualities? There were a few. It's kind of like getting a strike in bowling and not being very good at bowling. It doesn't happen very often. But when you do, if you're in one of those high-tech bowling alleys with the TVs, you see that big X on the screen and you go, yes, I did it! And that's kind of like the Superman wins icon that appears after each level when you win. Superman wins! Yeah, baby! The downside? one of the levels they forgot to put that on there. And so it's kind of like when you're in your car and a song doesn't finish. They say psychologically in your head, you don't have that resolve. That's why the song is stuck, is because that last chorus didn't go all the way through. And that's how I felt on the Lexcorp level. Because bad guy flies out the window on this motorized cart thing that can fly, and you jump out, and then it just ends. There's no Superman wins. Thank you, God. I want that title card. I want to see that I won that level too. And I don't think it's going to happen. I've emailed Titus over and over. Apparently they went bankrupt in 2005. No one is responding. How do I heal? How do I get past this broken piece of resolve within myself? I didn't get the satisfaction. Then, as the game completes, as if it wasn't enough of a tease the entire time, there's no fight with Lex Luthor. You don't get to do anything with him. He just says, by the way, this is all virtual. Psych, I'm still around. And then the game decides to do this kind of thing. Stupid. I don't know. It's like it's Lois, Jimmy, Professor Hamilton. Oh yeah, over here, Lex Luthor. You can't beat me. And there you are, left with the game credits. Sorry, mosquitoes. I don't think one should ramble about this any more than I already have. I'm hanging up the controller once and for all. Superman 64, you are no more. Go to the neighborhood Wal-Mart store and think this is my wallet and pull it out, and I'll try to pay the clerk or cashier and they'll just look at me like, what in the world are you doing? You are totally off the rails. And then that's when I'll hear him say, this looks like a job for Superman. And then there's this change on the clerk's face, just like that. She says, you know what? I'm gonna pay it forward this time. You go ahead and take your Wonder Bread and your bologna and get on out of here. I go on about my merry way. So. My healthcare provider suggested that I take up another form of art to cope with the stress, to let go of that slice of me that was robbed. And so I only find it fitting to do something to take my mind off of things. Just kind of disconnect body from mind. Just let it flow. Let it flow. Whatever happens, happens. There's hope yet. I know there is. There has to be. There's so much more to life than ridiculous video games of yesteryear. But if there wasn't, would there be a lasting legacy? If you chose to embrace reality. I always sign my name, date the year, and then I present what I've done. So here, my piece of therapy from me to you. The resemblance is uncanny. Or not. I will continue to reflect, take a victory lap, maybe take a regret lap too, because let's face it, the game is plagued with problems. But so what? I mean, are we all not flawed beings? Mere mortals on this third rock from the sun? It might seem a little hard to believe, but I'm decompressing from the terrors of the game. I'm also going through a kind of withdrawal. So for therapeutic reasons, I've chosen to become one with nature. To enjoy life outside that little 8x11 room that we beat Superman 64 in. There's nothing quite so satisfying. Nothing. You think that's crazy? I'll show you crazy. That is crazy. I found this in the wild after I buried it across the yard, and I don't even have a dog. I do have a cat. An extraterrestrial came to this planet. We could give them but one thing as a source of entertainment. Would we bless them with Superman 64, considering the fact that Superman is from planet Krypton? Could we do better? Would we give them a bag of these giant jet-puff marshmallows? A bag of our finest generic brand coffee? Send them with a DVD copy of Walt Disney's The Cat from Outer Space. Suppose we'd have to send a DVD player too. And television. And a Nintendo 64 console and controller. All of a sudden their spacecraft's getting a little heavy. Great. Okay. So you just want me to talk about it a little and give my thoughts? Sorry, there's not a lot of room to spread out in here. Need to come up with a way to make this room larger, I suppose. It's over. It's done. I'm trying to erase it from my mind. The nightmares, the terrors, the tragedies, the rings flashing in front of my eyes. The terrible graphics. I'm dreaming in 90s era 3D. Terrible. And the best I got is Lex Luthor's laugh going, ha ha ha. And Superman going, this looks like a job for Superman. In addition to Superman 64 being a terrible game, she's ailing. She's not working. If you look right in there, you can kind of see a little bit of wear starting to form on those connection points. So I'm no expert. This might not work. But what I'm going to try to do is do a little bit of rubbing alcohol. See if I can get this game working again. So I'm just going to dab the tip of a swab. Just try to touch up those contact points a little bit. See if it gets off some of the buildup on the connection points. So, right in there. We're going to pretend like this is completely dry. Is there a hidden reason why this thing is bad? Or perhaps it's just misunderstood. Maybe there's more than meets the eye. I can't go anywhere without it haunting me in some way. I really can't. Sit up here and play tic-tac-toe with my kids. I like to journal my thoughts. And what happens? The page it's open to at least I can have a toy hot dog and peace and enjoyment. If you don't mind eating one of these little plant things to go along with it. It's just nice to have a day off. To no longer carry the stress. I guess I am carrying the stress, technically. It was in my back pocket. Can you believe this? Nintendo put their official Nintendo seal of quality on this game. This is not up to Nintendo standards? No, it's not. But what do I care? I'm not the one who greenlit it. I'm just a consumer. Just an average Joe. Still working class dude. Something random on the back of his blue jeans. And then there's me, this overgrown 35-year-old child, still trying to figure out why in the world I'm trying to tackle a game aged towards 6 to 11-year-olds. I know the biggest question on most of your minds is, how did you survive all the glitches? And it was really simple. I just followed this philosophy that said, there is no glitches. There are no glitches on the game, okay? Where are you? What are you trying to do? Jimmy, no! Oh, you stupid idiot! I really don't. What? It is completely bug-free until sort of a little joke on the starship level at the very end where they go, bug. 2000, there's a bug, folks. Program failure, main computer rebooting, and then make a joke on the year 2000. But you know the developers are having a laugh because they know how buggy their game actually is. Yet another glitch here. I'm stuck. The professor is missing, and I don't have anywhere I can go. I can't engage the computer like normal here, so another fail. But anyway, as far as my mindset is concerned, there are no glitches. There are mere setbacks. Sometimes setbacks that require you to do the whole game over again. In particular, on the last level. There was one time I had rescued Jimmy and Lois, fought Brainiac, and I went to go retrieve the bombs. And the game freezes on the cutscene, the little 2-second cutscene, totally frozen. Yep. So we're like 2 seconds away from beating the game, and it freezes on this lovely screen. And to play the whole thing over, there's no checkpoint on that level. No checkpoint. Do you know how many times, in particular, on that last level, that I had to go through that time-traveling portal thing over and over? How many times I collected those 12 pieces for that little tool thing the professor needed? Countless. And what do I have to show for it? This video. And apparently too much hot air and some coffee breath that needs to be addressed pronto. Because I'm a guy with a ton of self-control, even killed, patient, slow to anger, never to frustrate. But the amount of colorful vocabulary, slammed fists, and sheer agitation that Superman 64 gave me and provided me makes even my plants cower in shame. What? You mother... Oh, you stupid idiot! What the heck? You gotta be freaking kidding me. Alright, you guys saw that. That is rigged. You gotta be mother... Ridiculous. Gotta be. And I am just a crazy guy with a cat and plants in my house. And a Nintendo 64. How's that? Okay. Okay, I'll try to tone down the theatrics just a little bit. I'm sorry. Maybe 2.5, 3 weeks. Tried to pace myself out. I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep looking at you. I know I need to look this way. So I'm trying to pace myself out. Not get too keyed up. It's like, beat a level, take a day. Celebrate. Relish the moment. Savor it for all that it was. Because every day that you pass another level, you've outrun more and more of the competition. Because it takes somebody that's flat out psycho, obsessed, or downright fixated to take this task on. I'm sorry, I think I'm gonna have to take 5. Can you smoke cigarettes on camera? No? Okay, yeah, I don't want a TV-14 rating. I'm trying to make this family friendly, so give me another one of those Jet Puff marshmallows. At the end of the day, I have this sort of joy reeling in the back of my mind now. Yes! Yes, yes! That I'm a better person having seen it through to completion. There's a light at the end of the tunnel, a great light. And let me tell you, when you cross that threshold, when you enter the great beyond that is the world, past this, the lenses on your eyes completely change. A whole new dimension in front of you to enjoy, to relish in, and to celebrate. And that is why beating Superman 64 could change your life like it did mine. Is that okay? No, I'm not going to use a script. I told you that. I don't do scripts. I project what I feel in a series of one-take wonders. Patchwork quilted together. That is how I operate. And no off-camera producer is going to push me any other direction. This game, I mean, you're sitting there trying to focus on your job, and all of a sudden, you hear Lex Luthor's laugh. You see the broken coffee machine in the break room at work. You want to put your hand on your hip and go, this looks like a job for Superman. Because literally, that's like the only 2 voice bites the game has, over and over and over. It does have a decent soundtrack. Some of the punches sound more like slaps, and Superman's punch only goes so fast. It's kind of like more like... That part's kind of annoying because you're just like, all right, I pushed the button like half a second ago and then finally it responds on the screen. And that's just annoying. It makes you look like a sloppy player. And let's face it, if you have actually seen this through from start to finish, you've had to become a pretty skilled player. Not by choice, by requirement. There is no easy street. There just isn't. And the reason why is because these idiot developers decide we're gonna let you get to a certain point in the game and then say, you can't play anymore because you played it on an easy difficulty or a normal difficulty. you gotta do Superman mode. And I'm okay with that, so long as there's a disclaimer at the beginning. But for those of us that buckle down and do our very darndest to do the game justice, it's really frustrating to have to play through all those again. Scout's Honor. I played it fair and square. Scout's Honor. And even though I wasn't a scout, I did. Were there times I died, times I ran out of the room and went nuts? My neighbors were convinced that they needed to call the law? Maybe. But there was always that sweet satisfaction of Superman wins. Now, I'm not going to tell you the hundreds of times that it said Lex wins, but that happened too. And I'm the kind of guy that likes to highlight the better moments, not fixate on the frustrating ones. But there were a lot of frustrating ones, and so most of those probably didn't come through during the actual released video. However, there's lots of B-roll footage. I tried to film the entire game and I ran out of space on my recording devices because I was running two the entire time. And so, because I'm a relatively low-tech guy, no capture card, it's just like staging a couple of tablets, one at the screen, one at me, and then later in the editing process, linking the audio together, and then doing a little picture-in-picture action. Nothing real technical. However, it is tedious. Then there's all the noise in the room. I'll tell you what. I got a ceiling fan in here that is so loud that there's no such thing as getting a good take without this. It's really annoying. Don't even get me started on the air conditioner. This room has a window unit that is so loud that the neighbors can hear it from 100 yards away. So out of the kindness and goodness of my heart, I kept it off. At one point, this room got up to 93 degrees, and I'm telling you, I thought I was sweating through the circles of hell. The game kind of taunts you at the very end. I don't remember exactly what it says, but it basically, in a few less words, is like, we know this was terrible, but you did it, so good job. And then it cuts to the credits. And to just kind of satisfy their itch, the credits just go through, and then all of a sudden they circle around again, so you can watch those names over and over and over of the people that developed the very thing that drove you off the cliff of sanity. What's my advice to somebody that's caught up in the Superman 64 vortex of crazy? Don't do it. Do not do it. It robs you of that last slice of dignity that you have. Chews you up and spits you out, giving you these explosive and unpredictable sorts of behaviors. You're changing outfits, you're changing caps, doing whatever you can to prove to the world, I got this under control. I'm not a gamer. I'm just a dedicated father that happens to like vintage video games. Boy, is it satisfying to be done, though. We went through some things, didn't we? I can't get away from it. And neither can you. It's ingrained in our brains. Might as well just put it on top of your head and let it sink into the skin, because it's not going anywhere. For too long, you'll be drawing obese, high-quality images like this.
What was the point of Lex Luthor's virtual mission? Why did they fight it in a virtual world? And not enough time. I suppose that's why beating Superman 64 was the mission of a lifetime. I suppose that's all I've got to say right now. Until next time, my good friends.
In lieu of some technical difficulties, I share with you the Superman 64 song, completely tax-free and unfiltered. So here we go. You thought you were gonna play Superman 64, have some fun with friends. Then you went to turn the game on and realized it stunk. That's okay, 'cause the RCA cable didn't work. You saved some heartache, maybe a friendship, a mediocre joke. We'll never know. Sent off for a new gaming cable. It came and you plugged it in. Then a ridiculous and stupid game let you down again. Fly through some rings, find some glitches, back rooms in a game. No problem, man. Terrible controls, nonsensical puzzles. It's got it all, my friend. Superman 64, you are a treasure, transcending time, but I can't